On June 20, World Refugee Day, we honor the resilience and courage of more than 65 million people who have been forced to flee war, persecution, and violence. But it is also a moment to recognize those communities and people around the world who receive refugees and the internally displaced in their midst, offering them a safe place and welcoming them in their schools, their workplaces, their societies. Today, we live in a world in which uncertainty often abounds. Economic instability, political upheaval, and violence close to home can make us want to shut our eyes or close our doors. But fear and exclusion will not lead us to a better place. They can only lead to barriers, alienation, and despair. It's time to change this trajectory, and for the better. In countless communities around the world, including in the poorest countries that host the vast majority of the world's refugees, business people, faith communities, teachers, journalists, and many more are joining together to provide refuge to the displaced and foster their inclusion in their societies. Through UNHCR's work, often on the front lines of conflict, we witness the courage, tenacity, and brilliance of refugees every single day. Having lost their homes, their work, sometimes their families, they don't give up. They find a way to start again, striving to belong and to contribute. They reach out to their new neighbors, building connections and creating new opportunities. Given the right environment, our experience is that refugees bring solutions, not problems. Inclusion requires opening our minds, hearts, and communities to refugees. It requires a whole-of-society approach, joining up students, business leaders, athletes, activists, religious figures, politicians, and artists to share responsibility. And welcoming refugees cannot be at the expense of helping others, but should broaden support to all who need a hand. There are outstanding examples of this in villages, towns, and cities, in countries on every continent. In big and small ways, communities around the world are standing together with refugees, recognizing that when people work together, everyone wins. So on World Refugee Day, when we pause to contemplate the fate of the millions of people who cannot return to their homes tonight because of war or persecution, it is also a moment to ask ourselves what each of us can do to overcome indifference or fear and embrace the idea of inclusion, to welcome refugees to our own communities and counter narratives that would seek to exclude and marginalize refugees and other uprooted people. Because when we stand together with refugees, we also stand for respect and diversity for all.